Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Hazel.
And welcome to Skip the Rulebook, the show that unscrambles the rulebook to spell out your new game.
Today there'll be word games and dictionary diarrhea aplenty as we look at the Wibbell++ game system. With 5 games in the box and a healthy encouragement to invent your own, the only limit is your imagination.
That and my poor spelling skills. Let's skip the rulebook. The first thing you'll find in the box are a set of cards that outline the rules for 5 games that can be played with the Wibbell++ system and are recommended by the designer. These cards are in essence your rulebook, and you know how we feel about those. The entirety of Wibbell++ revolves around creative use of the deck. Each card has on it a variant border art, 2 prominent letters and a number. Some games use all of these features, while others ignore all but one for their core mechanics.
Wibbell++ is designed to be a growing and developing system, which will revolve around the community website. Here you can find rules for new games developed by players and also submit your own. You can find the link below. Over the course of this series of videos, we will demonstrate the 5 base games. We'll begin with the system's namesake, Wibbell. Begin by shuffling the deck and placing it face down in the centre of the play area. Then turn 2 cards over, face up. Players then race to shout out a word which contains at least one letter from each of the cards.
Soup! The first person to successfully shout a matching word gets to take one of the 2 cards from the centre as their prize. This then gets placed face up in front of them. I would then turn over a new card from the top of the deck so that there are 2 in the centre. The downside now for me is that I've got to come up with a word that matches not only those 2 in the middle, but also the one in front of me, while Hazel still only has to match the 2 in the middle. Bison!
If 2 of you shout a word at exactly the same time, then the shortest word wins. Ha! If the words are of the same length, then the first one alphabetically wins. If you happen to say the same word, then you each take a card and then flip over 2 more. Lesson!
Well, that's a crying shame. It seems that Hazel's made a slight mistake. She hasn't used all the letters available to her because she's forgotten this one. If any player ever makes a mistake, then they're out of that round and can no longer win the current card. That leaves all other players then to shout again. If there's only one remaining player, as in this case, then that player gets to take that card automatically.
There are only a few limitations on the words that you may choose. Firstly, you can't use a proper noun. You also can't repeat a word that's previously been used, or any derivative of it. So, for example, as Paul used the word soup earlier, I couldn't use the word soups. Each shouted word only counts for 1 card. You can't repeat it. So, if you had these 2 cards on the table, you couldn't shout out shoe to claim the 2 S's, and you could instead say a word like sister or shoes.
The game continues until one player wins their 4th round. When this happens, they take both cards from the centre. Everyone then turns the cards in front of them face down, in essence resetting the game. You then start a new round by drawing 2 new cards. In the last round of the game, the player who takes the penultimate card also gets to take the last card as well. Once you've exhausted the deck, the game ends, and the player with the most cards is the winner.
Once you get the hang of the game, you can add in a few variant rules. Firstly, the handicap. When a player has won their 4th card, they must choose one of their cards and place it face up in their handicap row. When all players turn their cards face down, they must leave this one face up. For future rounds, they must match this card as well as the others. The handicap row is added to if they win again.
If one player is particularly good at Wibbell, you do have the option of forcing them to start with 1 random card already in their handicap row. There are also some variant rules for playing with less players.
Fewer.
If you're playing with 2 or 3 players, begin by dealing 12 cards per player, then shuffle them to form your deck. Remove all of the cards from the game. That's it for the first instalment of our Wibbell++ series. Make sure to tune in to find out about the other games that use this cracking system. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please press like. If you want to hear more from Skip the Rulebook, press subscribe. You can find out more about us on Facebook, Twitter and skiptherulebook.com.
Join us next time for your chance to jump into that new game of yours without having to do that tedious rule reading.
See you later.